What's going on, guys? My name's Chris. I'm with my co-host JP Flowin, and thanks again for joining us for another episode of the Success Agent Podcast, where it's our only mission to help real estate agents sell more homes by spending less time and less money to do so, all with modern 21st century business tactics. Now, you can catch us here live every single Wednesday on our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Success Agent Podcast. Or you can catch us after the fact on the go on Apple iTunes. We're on Spotify, Stitcher. We're on tons of places. Just go ahead and look for us, and we're there. Now, last week we talked about branding with intent and really making it so that your branding actually helps you stand out and you really create something for yourself. And then this week, we're going to be talking about something a little bit different, kind of like the back end stuff, which is following up like a human. Now, I know that all of us have been getting blasted with random voicemail drops, for example, of like your car warranty is running out, or, you know, here's a new option for health insurance. And we all know that crap is fake, right? And chances are, and I'll ask you this directly, JP, would you use one of those companies that just sounds blatantly fake?
No.
Not even
going to try. Not even going to go there. This just seems so just rude.
Right. It's honestly a pain in the ass, and we don't care, right? I mean, there's a difference between advertising and irritating people. And you need to find that balance of, well, we're not trying to irritate anyone, but you need to advertise and be present within their life, but you need to be a human, because after all, it's a human working with a human, providing a service to find their home, right? So how have you overcome some of these issues? Obviously, like automating stuff is really where everything is headed, but how are you balancing automation versus really personally reaching out to people?
So balancing being robotic versus being human.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so basically what I've done is looked at how my systems are that I have in place, and then knowing when to jump in. Because I think what happens is, as real estate agents, we get so busy, we start to automate a lot of these processes, and then we still, on top of that, miss opportunities.
Yep.
One of the things to look into is using VAs, virtual assistants, to where we can, keep the humanity side of things. There's other services out there like Ask Alex and things like that, where it's like a hybrid of automation. There's an AI that goes up to a certain point, and then a human pitches in and then takes that to a certain point and then hands it off back to the agent. So you're getting super high quality leads, so you can continue to keep the human interaction going to the process, to where they're like, yeah, let's go look at houses, and then let's put an offer into, we're closing, and then that way it keeps everything moving forward. So you automate to a certain point, not until they get Watson or whatever, all those other ones out there, to where they have much more of a human decision engine, to where they can make the right decisions as if you were the one making those decisions. And I don't think they're quite there yet. And we're at least 15 years away from any of that stuff, I think. So that's kind of the best process to continue to keep that humanity going, because nobody wants, I'm working with an agent. Okay, great. Well, you let me know how that's working out. And you're like, that's not what I would have said. I would have said, hey, that's great. Oh, well, if that's not going to work out for you, give me a call. Or, hey, I want to look at this house. I'm not ready right now. I still have some credit issues to work out. Okay, great. Well, let's go ahead and set up a showing. Well, that's not what I was going to say, but you have your automation set up to where it's not you, and it's not right, and it's not quite dialed in. So you have to know when to step in as your systems are doing their thing, and then be like, all right, boot the AI out, get JP back in there.
Right.
So pick up and say, save this deal, So and the problem with a lot of the AIs right now is you have to teach it. You have to monitor conversations. You have to keep going there and teach it. And at some point, it's going to give you a certain level of human qualities, because now it's if this then that, that's the whole process you do. Well, if this, well then that, and that's how you kind of keep working down to where it's okay, well now I've got an avatar, if you will, of me in my automation.
Right. Yeah. And I think what you said is really important there in that. So we already know it's a combination of the two right now. We're not at the point where Watson can sell someone a home. We're not there. We're not even to the point where Watson can literally set an appointment for you with a human. We're not there. So figuring out how to tie in that human, into when you should actually take charge is kind of really the most important part, because then you're not basically risking that entire relationship on automated stuff. And it allows you to actually come in and create that relationship, that human to human relationship that we're all looking for anyways. So making it so your system notifies you at the right time, I guess, would you say that's one of the most important aspects of all this?
Yeah. I mean, and part of it is just having good alerts, period.
Yeah.
Because if it alerts you too late, the conversation's gone down this rabbit hole and there's just no way you can jump into it now, because it's unsalvageable now, because now it's going beep, boop, boop, beep, bop, bop. And there's no, and when you get beeps and bops, dude, you're done. You're out. There's no coming back from a beep and a bop, because they're going to be like, I had this happen to me one time, because I've been working with this AI thing now for, I don't know, about a year. And, I had it go, it got down to the beep and bop, and then all of a sudden the person on the other end was like, "You're not listening to me. Listen to me. I want to see this address." And it's like beep boop beep bop, and so now we're going down this I don't know if I can bring this back. And so then I kind of jumped in there, and I'm trying to salvage it, and they're like, "Oh, hey, there you are. We have another agent now." Dang it, totally missed it. But it's okay, first of all, you have to be completely engaged in your business. I know of a lot of real estate agents that have some weird parameters in their business. I don't work on Sundays, and I don't work after 5, and I don't do this, and I don't do that. That's crap. Because if you're in real estate, it's not a job. It's a lifestyle. It's a business. You have to baby that thing. And you start putting all these weird parameters and all your stuff, hey, that's great, but you're going to stay where you're at. You're always going to be within those parameters. You're never going to be a 9-figure agent, especially not in our area. It's just not going to happen, because you're living in a box. You have to trade. When you're trading time for money or money for time, there's only so much of it that you can do. And if you start shutting your business down at 5 o'clock and you're not going to work on Sundays or whatever, that's fine. That's great if you like to be where you're at. I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, and that's why you've been there, and I've been in the business for less time than you have, and you've been in there for, at least half, or if not more than that, more, on top of 5 or 6 years, longer in the business, and I've already surpassed you in the same, in less time frame. Then that's great. I mean, if that's what you're looking for, that's great, but that's not me.
Yeah.
I treat real estate as an entrepreneurial business that has unlimited growth potential. So I'm not putting myself in a box. I'm just going to work and work and enjoy it, because I don't look at real estate as work. I look at it as always being able to hone a professional business, and taking all avenues and harnessing them and focusing them in the directions that are going to give me more growth than I've ever seen. And it's just, you have to be able to be ready in order to take advantage of those things. So.
Yeah. So where do you think kind of technology hits its limit? Where should you just shut it off and take over?
It really depends. I mean, if you're keeping an eye on your technology and making sure that it's being productive in all areas, and especially with texting AIs, for instance, take over the moment you even can start smelling the fact that it's not going down the humanistic road. That's when you need
Yeah.
to jump in.
I would
And
even
then
say it's like once you get the engagement, because like really with technology, you're trying to get the engagement and
yeah,
pick up more than a pulse, but like actually like a thinking human being. And then at that point, then you can take over, right?
yeah. I mean, that is certainly one way of doing it. The best way to do it is if you can get your AI to the point where you've booked an appointment
Sure.
and then jump in.
Right.
And that's where the if this then that comes in, where you continue to teach your AI to do
Mm.
those things, and then it can recognize certain key phrases and words and things like that. Because what I was running into was it wasn't really doing me any good, because the moment I'd get engagement and I just jump in, I might as well have just jumped in from the beginning,
That's
because I'm
fair.
not leveraging my time. That's the whole purpose of automating anything, is leveraging your time. And if your time just literally is just, if this is minute one, and then you jump over to minute two, well, what, you saved yourself a minute? That does, I mean, who cares? I
Right.
mean, let's just skip minute one and just become minute one, and then maybe I can shave minute two off on the back end because I narrowed the gap faster.
Uh-huh.
Well, that doesn't do you any good if you're trying to scale a business out. So if you're trying to scale a business out, you want someone in minute one, minute two, minute three, minute four, minute five, and then maybe at minute six, you jump in. Now you've gained 6 more minutes back. And think about this. You're running, they say about it takes 2,500 leads to get 250 sales. So if you're trying to scale your business out that far out and you're saving 6 minutes on 2,500 leads, that's how you scale a business.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're only shaving off a minute at 2,500 leads, well, that minute becomes relative, because you could have, depending on where it's located in the process. So then
Yeah.
you're really not scaling anything else. So why even have AI? Just hire more people, hire more agents, hire. And then
Yeah.
at some point, you know, where you spend, and you got to decide whether those hires are actually, then it becomes other issues. Like with an AI, I can slap that AI in the face and be like, listen, I need you to do these specific tasks. If I hire somebody and I slap them in the face, they're gonna be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Quit slapping me in the face. I don't understand what you're saying. And so at some point, you've got to decide, okay, calculated time versus just time in general.
Mm-hmm.
Randomness of time, whether that time is effective or not, is relative, because you got to decide whether you're spending time on this particular person and they get it. Like with an AI, you're like, oh, didn't get it. I can fix it. Okay, now I've got it for a certain period of time. Don't get it, fix it. And so you're progressively getting to the end result. Whereas, following up like a human, at some point, I'm either going to really care to do it, or I'm really not going to care. And, those shaved minutes that I might be shaving actually may add extra minutes because I'm hiring a human.
Mm-hmm.
So there's pros and cons in both. I mean, we want to keep our humanity because we want to continue to engage, but we also need to make sure that what we're, what we're doing comes back down to, income producing activities. If I teach an AI to be very efficient in what it's meant to do, versus spending a lot of time with someone and you think that they've got it, and then all of a sudden they ain't got it.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the issues with people is if they end up quitting, you now have to spend all that time to basically get someone else back to their level. So you're really going back in time, and it's actually costing you a lot of time because you're now training those people to do what someone already else knew. Whereas with software or AI or whatever you use, it's literally copy and paste.
Right. Exactly.
And that will save you a ton of time. And if you just, stick to your systems, because, you see it like shiny object syndrome is what they call it. So that they see this new fancy AI that has like one more feature than what they already have. Agents do this. And so then they drop ship of whatever they have and they move on to the next AI because it has this one fancy feature, versus just picking something and spending a lot of time in it. It's kind of like picking a CRM, right? You just pick one and you just learn it. Overall, that's just going to make your workflow just better because you're always building off of something. You're not like restarting, retweaking, like all that stuff. You know, once the experimental time is taken and you've gone through those actions to make it as good as it really can get within reason, you can just rinse and repeat and copy it over and over again for agents you bring on your team.
Right. It's like, you know, in like the Matrix, you know what I mean? Like, it's like,
So you're going to kill me, but I haven't seen that video or that movie.
dude, that's un-American.
JP just found out I don't use my Instagram either.
Somebody give this guy a link to the Matrix for free. Like, put it in, just send us a note. I don't know, do something. Because if you have not seen them, that is completely un-American. I'm just saying right now. So anyways, for those of you that have seen the movie, basically like if you could take, the code and you could just because they say like in the Matrix, they're saying like, you're the 400th version of the one, in the movie. And it's basically like they've downloaded it over and over and over and over again. And then basically Neo just learns off of the next one and then off of the next version until they finally got the perfect one. And that's really what it comes down to is if you can automate your humanity and you just continue to add on to the next version of the next version, eventually you're going to get it right,
Mm-hmm.
And then, obviously people want to visit face to face at some point because they're just like, hey, I can't take humanity off of text and email. I've got to put that into a real person, and then the real person takes over and closes the deal. So,
yeah, it kind of reminds me of Westworld. I have seen that, but to stay away from that rabbit hole, that could go.
I've seen the original.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's from the 70s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's say you're using AI, you got the appointment, but they're not quite ready to buy, right? So they need to be nurtured. How does so you put them on a drip campaign, right? But how do you make sure that you're actually still following up? Because the drip campaign is only going to get you so far.
Yeah.
Facebook branding is only going to get you so far.
Yeah.
And automated everything is only going to get you so far. So how do you how do you close that gap between all automated and all human? Like, how do you make it so it's really that symbiosis of each?
So part of it is that if you have a good drip campaign there, it's sending you alerts. It's basically CCing you on the drip campaigns. And when somebody responds to a drip campaign, it's going to go right into your inbox.
Right.
So then at that point, you've got a response. So then, you'll jump in and respond. Because most email drip campaigns is just an email, and then they respond. And then the response shows up in your inbox. So then you, as the agent, will then jump in and do the responding, and then you basically have taken over that conversation. Now, then you kind of, figure out where you're at. And then they're like, oh, well, we're just not quite ready to get in. Then you drop them back in the drip campaign, and then it continues to nurture. Problem with a lot of drip campaigns is they don't really have a good sequence of emails. It just seems like they're just completely random. And so I don't know how you fix that, I think you have to get to a point where you're like, okay, well, now I need to meet with these people face to face, get them in your office, meet them at Starbucks, whatever the case is, whatever your business model is, and then have these conversations about like, what is it that we're waiting for? Why is this taking so long? Getting down to the nitty gritty of why they're not ready, whether it's a credit thing or whatever that thing is. And then let's figure out solutions. I mean, the ones that win fix problems.
Yeah.
This whole entire episode is about fixing a problem that we have as real estate agents. So we've got to be able to be good at identifying the problem, figuring out the solution, and then executing it, And we're really good at figuring out what the problems are and figuring out how to fix them, but we suck at execution. And that's why we're where we're at, as a, big scale industry. So, and then it's being able to really convey to your clients, the people you're working with, the ones you're having those conversations. One is A, they need to commit to you, and then B, that they're committed to execution. So they need to be able to say, I got it. Okay, well, how do I do it? That's the problem with almost everything out there is, okay, I know what it is. I know what's wrong. Okay, well, what are the avenues that I need to go through for execution? Do I need to talk to this person? Do I need to go online and find this one thing? Do I need to teach myself how to do this thing, or whatever it is? But we stop at well, I figured it out, but I don't know how to execute because I don't know what to do. I don't, whether it's the right people that I don't know, whether it's the right connections I don't have, or I don't know what I'm doing and I don't know what the next phone call is I need to make. But the problem is that we don't have any follow through at all. We feel like we're stuck in a bubble. It's kind of like the guy in the see-through bubble. I know I'm in a bubble. I know that there's something on the other side of the bubble, but I'm afraid that if I go through the bubble, I'm not ready for what's out there. I'm not ready for the answer. I'm not ready for whatever that is, for some people, maybe it's because I have bad credit, but I already know that I have bad credit. But if I one day have good credit, what do I do with my good credit? Do I take my good credit and make it bad credit again? Because that's what I did the first time, right? I already know what that result looks like, or what if it's, I don't have a down payment, Well, I know what it was like when I had money in the bank and it ain't there anymore. And now if I have money in the bank, how long am I going to be able to stand it before I go crazy because I've got money in the bank that I can't spend, And then it's like, well, I know my own nature is that I'm going to spend it. So then how do I fix that problem? Get your down payment, give it to somebody else, put it in their savings account. Right. Or take it to a different bank that you don't bank at, and then don't get a password, don't get a login, don't get a PIN number, none of that stuff, and just stick it in there and leave it. Right. And then tell them at the bank you need 6 signatures in order to pull money out. Then you ain't ever gonna get it, and it'll just stay there and grow like it's supposed to. So, I mean, these are just things that it's like. But if I didn't know that, if I didn't know how to execute, we all know how to figure out solutions to problems. We just don't know how to execute because we don't think that far. It's like the guy that starts his own business and says, well, if I just sell a bunch of cars, then I'll make money. Well, yes and no, but do you know how many cars you need to sell? Well, no, I'll just sell cars. Well, if you don't know that, you need to sell 15 cars, which translates to this budget, which pays these bills, does these things and all this other stuff, then that's a business. But really, if you start a business, you don't know where you're going or how to execute, that's just a dream. And dreams in themselves don't just mature into a successful business. Right.
Yeah. So connect that to automating or humanizing follow-up. Where were you going with that, though?
So all that being said is that, first of all, we have to figure out where our business is coming from.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we have to know what our leads are. What's the source of our business? So now that we've come up with these ideas of, all these different avenues of where, we have the dream, right? Mm-hmm. So now we have this pool of people, and now we have to go, okay, now how are we going to cultivate that to get the follow-up? So AI with the combination of people, the combination of consistency with the combination of execution grows our successful businesses.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. What else can we add to this, though? I think, it also comes down to really knowing what's being sent, not going on what's defaulted, right? So like a lot of people, kind of comes, okay, so it kind of comes what you were saying. They're like, they know their problem, which is their drip campaign sucks, but they don't go on and execute it. So making sure that what you're actually sending sounds like you. Kind of goes with your AI thing, what you were saying before, in that, you know, if it doesn't sound like you, it's going to obviously not be you. So when the time comes to meet, these people don't even know who you are because they weren't even talking to you. So I guess really the action item, if you really want to do this, is actually go through what's being sent out and figure out when that stuff is being sent out, and also understand what you're trying to get out of it, like what actions you want your leads to take. And once those actions are taken, what are you going to do to basically bring it full circle? Would you say that would be like a summation of pretty much what someone needs to do?
Yeah, and just being fully engaged in all aspects of your business. I mean, get a
Right.
pulse on every piece of your business. You know, and I think what happens is, and again, this goes back to the nature of real estate agents, is that we just tend to set it and forget it, like the, you know, Ronco rotisserie chicken machine. And you just can't do that. You have to be fully
Yeah.
engaged. Like I've heard it, like there's a book out there called Profit First where he digs into his numbers every 10th and 22nd of every month. So he knows where his numbers are. Twice a month he's in there, twice a month. I've heard it, Grant Cardone, he checks his numbers every day. Every single day he's getting a direct report from his accountant and sending him, okay, this is what we've got going on. This is what we've got coming in. This is what we've got going out. Here's where we're at. You know, I don't know if most businesses aren't that anal, but you know, when you're growing gigantic corporations, you need to know your numbers on a regular basis. You should have people direct reporting to you all the time. So in the same thing with your follow-up campaigns, you need to know, you know, what's being sent out, what verbiages are they using, does it sound like you, does it sound like somebody, if you're trying to make it sound like a third person, then make it sound like a legitimate third person, you
Right.
know, so that person that's getting these emails isn't expecting, well, I thought you were a 42-year-old middle-aged man, you know, 15 to 35 pounds overweight and 5'5", you know, and then when I saw you, you're, you know, 6'3", 240 and built like a brick house, you know, like it just didn't sound like who you are or whatever. And that's, you
Right.
know, and that comes to a lot of things too. Like, okay, well, if your email systems aren't working, try video. I think it's more personable. People are going to know who you are. They're going to see your face. And then they can, like, when they, you know, and then you can be legitimate about your videos and be like, hi, it's me with the Titan Real Estate team. It's going to be someone like me or someone from our team. We really appreciate you reaching out to us. It's going to be somebody going to be calling you here in the next hour to 24 hours. Thank you very much. Once again, we really appreciate your business. Keep hanging with us because we're going to be there. We're in your corner. We're going to sell this house for you. We're going to help you buy a house, whatever that is. We love you. Bye. Deuces. You know, whatever that is.
All right. Yeah, I think that's a good point too. Video, trying other stuff that are more human, because you can automate video, like the sending of video. But if the content of the video sucks, the content of the video still sucks.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
And that just goes back to the other thing too, is being open to feedback. If people are watching this right now and they're like, God, that JP, he talks too much and whatever. Like, okay, well then we'll figure out ways to be better with that, or I can be better with my human side of my follow-up and then follow up on that comment after this video closes down and follow up with that, whatever
Right.
that is, however that may unfold. So it again, it's really just being aware, being engaged, understanding where the glitches are in your follow-up, and you know, automating to a point, and then knowing how the flow of how you are scaling out your business to continue to grow in the areas of follow-up. Because they say you want to grow your business in 3 separate buckets. You want to grow it in leads, you want to grow it in cold calls, brand new customers, and you want to grow it in sphere of influence. So internet, cold calls, past clients, sphere of influence.
Gotcha. I think what you said was really important there. Being aware, and awareness comes from investigation. looking into what's going on. But once you get to that awareness, you definitely got to go execute on something, making sure those things are getting improved on, and just humanizing it, making it your own, and not just using what comes out of the box from Lion's Desk or Real Geeks or whatever CRM you use, but like literally go in there and see what's being sent, fix it up, make it you. If you're great on video, Gary Vee always says this. If you're great on video, be a video blogger. If you're great writing, start a blog. If you're great just speaking, create a podcast. But whatever you do what you're good at. And I think the same thing goes for just making your automated follow-up human. Just focus on what you're good at and just keep exploiting that that advantage basically that you have over other people.
But do something.
Do something, right?
Doing nothing doesn't make you money.
Yeah, right.
Well, that sounds good, dude.
Cool. I like it. So we'll just end it here, guys. JP, why don't you let them know how they can get a hold of you and all that good stuff?
Yeah, if you want to sign up for a free 30-minute coaching call, you can go call me at 307-772-1184. Send me a text, and we can get you signed in on a time. Or you can catch me on all of my social at clixo.com/jfluellen. And all of these stuff is in the show notes. Or you can send me an email, james.fluellen@gmail.com. And you can click the link in the show notes on how to learn more about joining our team.
Great. Awesome, guys. Yeah, so if you want to reach out to me, just reach out on this Facebook page, comment on the post. Any way works. We'll definitely get back to you on that. And looking forward to seeing you next week. We're going to be trying some new things as this podcast evolves. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So we need your feedback so we can implement these new things and readjust and just be aware of the different things that we can be better at. So definitely don't be shy. I know we aren't being, so please help us out. All right, man. I'll catch you next week.
All right. Oh, and don't forget to give us a 5-star review if you like the things you're hearing right here on all of the platforms. We're on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, podcasts. I mean, we're everywhere. Just leave us a comment, and we will probably reach out to you personally. Yeah, and actually, as a side note, guys, if you feel like you could add some value to what we're providing, if you're digging what we're doing, and you want to be a guest on our show, let us know. We're looking for people who are experts in a very specific niche, whatever your niche may be. We want to find those experts because we want to include you so we can provide value to everyone. Get your message out there and get rocking and rolling. So, all right, man, I will catch you next week. All right. Peace.
See ya.